we're going to look at how to use Geogebra to verify the Pythagorean theorem. The hardest part for students will be creating a right triangle, so those are the instructions we're going to go through right now. The first thing you need to do is create a segment. Up at the top are all the creation tools that you have. The tool that we want is segment between 2 points. So you click on the tool, and then to see directions for how to use it, just hover over what you clicked on. So we need to either select 2 points or create 2 points with our tool. So point, point, there's our segment. The next thing we need to do to make sure that we have a right triangle is to create a perpendicular line to this segment. So we're going to go over to our next tool, select perpendicular line, and our directions say select a point and perpendicular line. So I'm going to select point B and the line I want to be perpendicular to, and it creates the perpendicular line. When we're looking at triangles, it's pretty inconvenient to have the whole big line here, so instead of using that, we're going to look at just a segment on this line. So to do that, we're going to create a point on the line, and then we're going to use our selection tool and right click on this line and then unshow that object. So now we don't have the perpendicular line there, but we do have a point from that line, so we can create a segment between those 2 points, and we still have a perpendicular segment here and a right angle. And the last thing we need is that third side for our triangle, so we're going to go ahead and create that by clicking on those 2 points. And now we have our right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem is all about measures, so now we need to make sure that we have measurements for these lines or a way to measure them. Using Geogebra, we can look at the measurement selection tool, and we want the distance or the length of those sides, so that's what we're going to look at. And again, we can hover over to see our direction, and it just says select the points, the segment, or whatever it is you want to measure. So if I click on my segment, the measurement pops up. Click on your segment, there's the measurement again. Click on our segment, and there's the measurement. Some of these are in inconvenient places, so if we use our selection tool, we can move them just a bit. That way we can see what the measurements are. And from here, I've got a right triangle with measurements for both legs and the hypotenuse. I can have my students plug these measurements in to the Pythagorean theorem, work through it either on paper or with a calculator to verify that the square of the length of the legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. And we're not limited to just this triangle. We can click one of the vertices and change the length of our leg. I can click another vertex and change the length of the leg and even move my triangle around a bit. Or I could click on my right angle and resize and move my triangle as well. And you'll notice that no matter which vertex I choose to move, my angle remains a right angle, so we don't have to worry about distorting our triangle.